My goodness, it's a hot one today again. Hey everyone. Alright, so we've wrapped up a busy week with running. There's a lot of highs and also a few lows, and honestly today was a pretty rough run out there. It was going to be a 17-mile run. I was hoping to make some good progress off of last weekend's 15-mile run and just keep bringing up those miles. Even next weekend we're going up to an 18-mile run. We'll see how that goes and we'll make some adjustments, but let me just talk about today's run first and then we'll recap the whole week. So the first thing I'll say is I made a mistake where around mile somewhere between 3 and 4, I actually flipped my watch over on my wrist to just basically hide it from myself. Last weekend when I did those 15 miles, I was actually using my phone because I forgot my watch at home and I was traveling, and it went really well because I just was going entirely by how my body felt, and there's always that pressure when it's on your wrist to keep track of the pace and try and meet certain things that you have in your head. Even if you're not really thinking about it, you just subconsciously react to what you see on the watch. So I went and flipped it over and I accidentally stopped it, I think, so I ended up not recording the activity, but I do have at least the first 3-mile stats, and I knew where the 7-mile point was, 8-mile point, 9-mile point. It's a very familiar route that I ran today, so I was able to still track the miles and ultimately know what I did, and I have the overall finish time, so it calculated to a pace and everything that I was able to put on Strava, just loading it as a manual activity. Now today was really hot and it was also really humid. I did make the effort to get outside and go really right around like 5 a.m. this morning, and it was already in the 80s. It was low 80s, but the humidity has just been unbelievably warm in the summertime in New York right now. It was about 91% humidity, again 80 degrees, and my body, I've said it several times in this training block, just doesn't react well to the humidity and heat combination. I've always said I even go sometimes into the afternoon where it's 90 instead of 80 because it tends to dry out during the day here in New York. So always finding that balance. Last weekend going out early was good. This weekend I think no matter what, today would have been a rough one. So I got to about mile 7. Again, I knew it was mile 7 without my watch, and it just really felt like I wasn't going to be able to do the full 17. I was already sweating through my clothes. I had been going very slow in the beginning, and it still just felt really, really humid and brutal, and I wrung out my shirts a few times, and I was going through so much sweat and water. So I did make the decision to turn around. I could always get back to the point with my car, see how I felt, and keep going in the other direction, but I just didn't want to be stuck too far away from where I had started and have to, walk or call an Uber or whatever. By mile 11, I had gone through a full 2 liters of water in my backpack, and I actually needed to stop and take a walking break. It just felt like my heart rate was kind of climbing more than it should have. So I took a quick break, just let my body temps come down a little bit, and continued on with the run. Now, the first 3 miles I noticed on my watch, because again, I see them when it clicks and beeps off each mile. I started at only 10:47 per mile, then 10:41, then 10:27. So those were those first 3 miles. I really took an easy warm up, and my heart rate reflected that. I was about, mid to high 120s for heart rate in the first mile, still in the 120s for the second mile, and just starting to notice that I was hitting the 130s for heart rate as I was getting into mile 3 and getting close again to like 10 1:30 per mile. So I was going slow enough. I think my body was reacting well, but just again, that heat starts to build up within me. My heart rate starts to climb from there. And again, it's just all I could really get out of it was a 14-mile run in the end with a small walking break at mile 11. So just very difficult conditions. And it's taking a toll on me, I think, with my motivation and things to go for this marathon. I was just talking to some friends recently at an engagement party, and I was talking about how one of the really fun things about a marathon and cool challenges that you kind of have to tackle mentally when you go for long distance racing is everything has to add up to really have a good, successful race, right? You have to have a good training block, no injuries, good weather, then you want good weather on race day, and then everything still has to go to plan, you know, no bathroom issues, no nothing during the 26-mile race on the actual day. So all that is always a factor. You know, sometimes you get to race day, it's hot, and you just know it's not going to be a PR, or you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of a race, and it's not going to be a PR. So all those things can happen. But this is probably the first year that I've been running, you know, over half marathon distance at least, where it just feels like the race is getting away from me before we've even gotten to a point of hitting my longest run. So a little unfortunate. I'm battling with that a little bit in my mind, just thinking like, well, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to run this whole marathon? I've got 2 back-to-back, Chicago and New York, but really I'm just concerned about like, how am I going to hit my goals in Chicago if I'm having so much trouble even getting outside for a longer run? So just some of those things that I want to be open with and internally struggling with. But the thing that keeps me going is that I'm just remembering that no matter what happens this year, no matter how well or poorly Chicago goes, I'm getting the runs in, I'm doing the best I can, and this running is going to stack up year after year after year. So I'm getting in better shape, I'm improving my fitness, and even if things don't work out this year, it's just going to be a stepping stone for the next year and the next year, and for however long I choose to, you know, continue to do this and run these long distance races, which for now seems like I'll be doing it for a while. All right, so enough about today's run. Let's jump into the recap of week 9 of our Chicago Marathon training block. There was a lot of good stuff that did happen this week. Starting off with a negative, on Monday, I was dealing with a little bit of that swelling in my knee, residual more from a past injury, torn meniscus. So I did take an extra day of rest on Monday, or just a day of rest on Monday after the last long run of 15 miles on Sunday last week. Now Tuesday, jumped into making up some of that mileage, went for a 6-mile run, easy, more of an active recovery day since I hadn't gone for an easy jog on that Monday, but I got a nice solid 6 miles in, felt very comfortable, and by Wednesday I went for another short run, actually did about 4 miles indoors on the treadmill to make up for some of that heat again that I was experiencing outside on the Tuesday. Thursday, that's when I actually did my speed session, so we had some quality work doing a 6x200 meter workout on flat and jumping right into 4x200 meters on a hill, and that was a pretty steep hill climb. I felt very comfortable and quick during that workout on Thursday, and I'd say, you know, maybe by Saturday my legs were refreshed and coming around from that workout. Friday is a rest day built into my calendar. Then Saturday was a nice and easy 4-mile run. It was supposed to be 5 miles, but the heat got to me just a little bit on Saturday as well, so I did lose 1 mile on that day. And sure enough, Sunday was an attempt to go out for this long run. We got 14 miles in out of 17, and that wraps up week 9. So I'm looking forward to another week coming up. We have week 10. I am going to try and do my long run at the end of this week coming up again. Hopefully we can go over 14 miles. I may try and change up the location a little bit, maybe go into New York City or make sure I'm around that area. Maybe there's a little less humidity there, because really I just don't remember this much humidity being in New York City when I was there full time. And, you know, the other thing I might do this week is just pick maybe a day in the latter half of the week when I look at the forecast, whichever one is going to be the coolest or the least humid. I'm just going to go and get that long run done, even if it just changes the structure of the training block a little bit. I want to get those miles in, so I'm just going to look at, you know, the weather forecast and really pick based on the best day weather-wise versus the day I'm supposed to do it in my training block, and hopefully that'll help going forward. Other than that, we're all set for this week. So Megan's got some fun plans for us. We're going out to a peach orchard, and we're going to do some peach picking, as well as it's just a winery, maybe get a little drink or something. So we'll go enjoy the rest of our Sunday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you all in the next video.